and indeed honor to invite my teacher, who is the chairman of this occasion, Professor Haruna Dandoro Dlapa, to kindly invite our keynote speaker, Professor Isa Ali Ibrahim Pantami. Thank you.
With the permission of His Excellency and distinguished participants, I have the pleasure to invite Professor Isa Ali Ibrahim Pantami to stand up for the citation, please. Thank you very much.
On a lighter note, if it had been some other keynote speaker, I would have run out of words because my dean and every other speaker before me has been mentioning his several achievements, but I'm not worried because it is Professor Pantami. The special guest of honor, Professor Babagana Umar Zulu, FNSE, MNI-CON, Executive Governor of Borno State, ably represented by Acting Secretary of State Government, Dr. Muhammad Buluz, also the newly appointed Head of Service, representative of His Royal Highness Alhaji Dr. Abubakar Ibn Al-Kanemi, the Sheikh of Borno, the keynote speaker, Professor Isa Ali Ibrahim Pantami, the Vice Chancellor and Chief Host, Professor Muhammad Lamin Umele, ably represented by the Provost, College of Postgraduate Studies, the Principal Officers of University of Maiduguri, Chairman of the occasion, Professor Haruna Santoro Dlapa, Dean, Faculty of Management Sciences, Provosts, Deans, Directors, representative of the Chief Medical Director, invited dignitaries, staff, students, ladies and gentlemen, a warm welcome to you all. It is my honor and privilege to read the citation of our keynote speaker, the Majidadin Daular Usmania, a distinguished scholar, a sheikh, an author, a farmer, consultant, and a cybersecurity expert. Professor Isa Ali Ibrahim, popularly known as Professor Isa Ali Pantami, was born on October 20th, 1972 in Pantami, Gombe State, to the family of Alhaji Ali Ibrahim Pantami and Hajia Amina Umar Aliyu. He began his education at the traditional Quranic school, where he spent over 4 years before attending Pantami Primary School, Gombe. He completed his secondary education at Government Science Secondary School, Gombe in 1993. Professor Pantami obtained a Bachelor of Technology BTech degree in Computer Science at the Abubakar Tafawa Balewa University, ATBU Bauchi, in 2003. By 2011, he had completed 2 master's degrees, MSc Computer Science and MBA in Technology Management. He earned a postgraduate certificate in research methods in 2012 and a PhD in Computer Information Systems from Robert Gordon University, Aberdeen, Scotland in 2014. To enhance his expertise, Professor Pantami completed several executive programs at top-ranking institutions. Name them: Massachusetts Institute of Technology, MIT, University of Sussex, University of Cambridge, London Business School, University of Oxford, and even the prestigious Harvard University, USA. These programs have equipped him with advanced knowledge in leadership and policy, digital transformation, and strategic innovation. Academic and professional career. Professor Pantami began his academic career as a lecturer at the Abubakar Tafawa Balewa University, Bauchi, teaching programming, multimedia software engineering, and management information systems. In 2014, he joined the Islamic University of Medina, Saudi Arabia, as an assistant professor and head of technical writing, where he taught several courses in the Faculty of Computing and Information Systems. In 2016, President Muhammadu Buhari appointed him Director General, CEO of National Information Technology Development Agency, NIDA. During his tenure, he repositioned the agency by initiating key projects such as the Nigerian National Public Key Infrastructure (PKI) program, established digital centers as intervention to over 200 institutions, and awarded several postgraduate scholarships to students of emerging technologies. Professor Pantami also increased internally generated revenue of the agency by over 300%. He continued his academic career with the National Open University of Nigeria, NOUN now, Massachusetts Institute of Technology, MIT, and also partnered with several other universities to develop ICT law. He also published in several reviewed journals as the CEO of NIDA and was appointed the first professor of cybersecurity by the Governing Council of the Federal University of Technology, Owerri, Futo, in 2021 after successful positive external assessments of his publications. Professor Pantami published over 10 books, several refereed journal articles, and attended over 100 conferences and workshops. Professor Pantami served as Nigeria's Minister of Communications and Digital Economy from 2019 to 2023. Under his leadership, the National Digital Economy Policy and Strategy 2020 to 2030, National Broadband Plan 2020 to 2025, Nigeria Startup Act 2022, and Nigeria Data Protection Act 2023 were passed. This led to the establishment of Nigeria Data Protection Commission. He also addressed issues like excessive right-of-way charges and vandalization of telecommunication infrastructure. Professor Pantami also championed the development and implementation of 23 national policies, which increased ICT contribution to GDP to 18.44% and catapulted the sector to become the fastest growing sector of Nigeria's economy in 2020. In the 4 years of his tenure as a minister, he designed and executed a record-breaking 4,366 projects and programs. He also established the first National Artificial Intelligence and Robotics Center in Africa. In 2022, Professor Ibrahim was also appointed by the United Nations through the International Telecommunications Union as the chairman of the World Summit on Information Society. As the chairman, he chaired the Council of 193 Global Digital Economy Ministers. His tenure recorded unprecedented achievements as attested by the Secretary General of ITU and other stakeholders. Professor Pantami is a member of several professional associations within and outside Nigeria, including Fellow, Chartered Institute of Information. I told you shouldn't be worried, I have a lot to read as well. So, Fellow British Society, Computer Society, FBCS, Fellow Nigeria Computer Society, FNCS, Member Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers, IEEE, member, Computer Professional Registration Council of Nigeria, CPN, fellow Cybersecurity and Cybercrime Forensic Group of British Computer Society, among several others. Professor Pantami is the Chancellor of University of Quran and Islamic Sciences in Jazeera. He is on the Board of Trustees of Phoenix University and on the Governing Council of Rayhan University. As the DG and later Minister, he received over 220 awards, both locally and internationally. In 2022, the presidency awarded him with the Award of Excellence in Governance for being the best performing Minister of Creative Thinking and Innovation. He was elected into the Governing Council of ITU of the United Nations in 2022. The federal government of Nigeria also conferred on him a national honor of Commander of the Order of the Niger, CON, in 2023. In terms of community service, Professor Pantami currently teaches and supervises PhD students and partakes in diverse community service locally and internationally. In Nigeria, he has served as a keynote speaker at several universities, colleges of education, and polytechnics, including the National Defense College, Nile University, Federal University, Kashere, Federal University of Technology, Minna, Achievers University, National Intelligence Agency, and now we can include University of Maiduguri. He has also served as keynote speaker during several global events, such as World Mobile Congress, Barcelona, Future Technology Forum, United Kingdom, United States African Leaders Forum, White House, Washington, D.C., Gulf Information Technology Exhibition in Dubai, Global Cybersecurity Forum, Global AI Forum, and LEAP, all in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, among several others. In 2024, Professor Pantami was appointed as the co-chairman by the African Union through the African Scientific Research and Innovation Council to develop the fourth industrial revolution policy and strategy for the continent. He is the sole representative of West Africa on the council. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the pioneer digital minister, cybersecurity expert, and a leading global promoter of social, soft, and technical skills, Professor Ali Isa Ibrahim.
Professor Fatima Alfa has overblown my trumpet. May Allah forgive you. The chairman of the occasion, our elder Professor Haruna Dantoro, the governor of Borno State, His Excellency Professor Babagana Omar Zulum, CON, FNSE, MNI, the representative of Sheikh of Borno, the Vice Chancellor of University of Maiduguri, the Dean, Faculty of Management Sciences, Professor Sheikh Mustafa Liberty, other deans and heads of departments here present, our respected brother Sheikh Madu Mustafa, who is also here present, senior and respected academics here present, professors, associate professors, senior lecturers, and others. Also the principal officers of the university, staff of the faculty, members of the local organizing committee for the conference, and I can see from the gathering some of our respected elder brothers in Bauchi and Gombe, including Borno State, ladies and gentlemen of the press, all other protocols duly and respectfully observed. Good afternoon to all of you. I begin in the name of Allah, the entirely merciful and the especially merciful. May Allah's peace, mercy, and blessings be upon you all. Amen. Permit me to begin by appreciating the University of Maiduguri through the Faculty of Management Sciences for inviting me to serve as the keynote speaker for the second international conference organized on the Sustainable Development Goals. I received the invitation last month, and at the time the invitation came to me, I was super busy. While going through the invitation, I discovered that it was flexible. I was given the permission to either be here physically or to join you virtually for the presentation. Immediately, I decided to join the conference virtually. I travel a lot, particularly in the last 1 month. I only returned to Abuja just 2 days ago. On the Sunday night, I received a phone call from our brother, Professor Babagana Umar Zulum, the governor, saying that, are you on the way to Maiduguri? I said, no. My plan is to join the conference virtually. Why? I said they gave me that option in the invitation, and he said, no. You have to be here physically. I insisted to join virtually, and he resisted that I must be here virtually. At the end, I had no option but to accept. In the course of my discussion with him, he informed me that the Dean of the Faculty, Professor Sheikh Mustafa Liberty, was on his neck to ensure that I attended the event virtually. I am grateful to physically. I am grateful to the Almighty that I am here with you physically for the conference. Furthermore, the chairman of the occasion, Professor Haruna Dantoro, PhD, and all other titles, has made my presentation easier because he spoke superficially on the goals of the sustainable development and also the wisdom behind formulating the international policy and also the journey so far. I will make an attempt to speak on the topic superficially as well as the keynote speaker, and I do hope that the presentation will make us to appreciate the gist of what the theme is all about. The theme of the conference as presented to me is harnessing sustainable development goals for economic frontiers, opportunities, challenges, and emerging solutions. This is a very important theme and a very important topic particularly as earlier mentioned by the chairman of the occasion, that the Sustainable Development Goals were formulated in 2015, Gregorian date. Today we are in 2025, and the plan in 2015 was to ensure the implementation of these goals by 2030, within the period of 15 years, from 2015 to 2030. So within these 15 years, we have spent 10 years so far, remaining 5 years. So by implication, we have spent 2/3 of our time for the implementation of the Sustainable Development Goals. The goals were formulated through a joint effort between many countries globally, academics, industry players, policy makers in 2015, with the intention of making sure that the world lives in peace and prosperity for all. These goals are 17 in number. And if you look at them critically, you will discover that they touch the most important components of our life: education, health, security, economy, decent life, justice, among others. In addition, if you look at the goals, 17 of them, you will discover that as we are speaking today, most of them are not implemented effectively in Africa. At the time SDGs were formulated, the whole world population in 2015 was around 7.4 billion. Today, according to the United Nations, the world population is approximately 8.2 billion. So you will discover that within this period of time, almost 800 million people increase within our own population. As of last year, 2024, according to an investigation of the journey so far conducted by the United Nations, if you look at the whole world population, you will realize that 42% of people living globally are living in communities and countries where the goals have been implemented significantly. And this is mostly in Europe, countries like United Kingdom, Germany, Italy, Sweden, Norway, among others. Then North America, America and Canada, then some Asian countries like South Korea, Japan, India, and also Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, Qatar, United Arab Emirates, Oman, Bahrain, and others. In addition, 26% of the world population lives in an area where these goals have been implemented moderately, usually around 50%. Unfortunately, 32% of the world population lives in an area where the goals have not been implemented, and mostly in African countries. If you look at the whole world population today, which is approximately 8.2 billion people, in Africa our population is approximately 1.5 billion people. And our average age in Africa is 19.2 years old. In addition to that, our entire collective GDP of Africa with 54 countries is around maximum 3.7 trillion USD, which is almost in the same category with the GDP of Japan as a country with a population of less than 160 or 170 million people. while in Africa our population is 1.5 billion people. So by implication, there is no one country in the whole world that has the population of our continent. The closest one to us today is India, with a population of 1.42 billion, then followed by China. And if you look at the economy of India, of China, for example, with a population of 1.4 billion, you will discover that their collective GDP is approximately 19.8 trillion USD as of December last year, 2024. 19.8 trillion, while the entire continent of Africa, with 1.5 billion people approximately, the collective GDP as of December last year was only 3.7. This is to show to us that we are still struggling to implement these sustainable development goals formulated under the leadership of the United Nations. And these goals are very critical. If you look at them, they are 17 in number, and around 13 are very critical. For example, the goals are, number 1 is end poverty. Read with me. Then number 2 is zero hunger. Number 3 is good health. Number 4 is quality education. Number 5 is gender equality, but I call it gender equity. Then number 6 is clean water. Then number 7, affordable and clean energy. Then number 8, decent work. Then number 9, industry, innovation, and infrastructure. Then number 10, reduced inequalities. Then number 11, sustainable cities and communities. Then number 12 is a sustainable production and consumption. Then number 13, which is the capital action, or the climate action. Then number 14, which is land life below water. Then number 15, life on land. Then number 16 is peace, security, and strong institutions. Then number 17, partnership for all the goals. These are the 17 sustainable development goals as formulated by the United Nations through joint effort of various governments, academics, industry players, policy makers, among others. If you look at these 17 goals, you will strongly agree with me that we are in dire need of them in Africa. In a country like Nigeria, since independence 1960, there are issues that we are still struggling to address. And unfortunately, sometimes instead of making progress, we are diminishing. The issue of end poverty. Definitely, poverty is increasing in our communities. Zero hunger. We move from 10% hunger to even 20 or 30% hunger. Because at the moment we are speaking, having 3 square meals daily is becoming like a luxury. Just like a luxury. Only people that are very important in our communities that can eat 3 square meals in their families. The same we are battling with quality education. We are struggling just for even salary. A professor today is being paid less than $300. If you look at the budget of our education, it's nothing to write home about. And this is not restricted to Nigeria. this is what is being found in many African countries. The only two zones or the only two regions that have made tremendous progress are North Africa, like Morocco, Tunisia, Algeria, Egypt, and most probably some Southern African countries like South Africa, Botswana, among others. But in West Africa, East Africa, and other regions, we are still battling about how to provide decent education, quality education for our citizens and also for our children. Only last week, I was conducting a research on a paper, and I realized that in the US, in elementary and secondary school, the government spends approximately 18 to 19,000 USD per pupil. 18 to 19,000 USD annually. So if you compute this amount, by implication, government is spending over 30 million per one citizen, just in elementary and secondary schools. In Qatar, they are spending around 17,000 USD per child. But if you compute in Africa, you will discover in some places we are spending less than $400 per child. So it means we have a lot to do in order to provide quality education. There is no doubt about this. So these 17 Sustainable Development Goals are still very relevant, and we have a long way to go towards achieving and addressing them. When it comes to the economic growth, before discussing economic frontiers, economic growth usually is being determined by two factors. Number one is about the size of our economy. Then secondly, the productivity of that economy. And mostly, we have some indicators in order to look into them carefully and make sure and review whether we are making progress or not. There are around 9 to 10 indicators that are very critical. If they look positive, it means our economic growth is positive. If they look negative, then it means our economic growth is negative. Number one is our gross domestic product, which includes the value of goods and services being produced within our country within a period of time, first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter, or within a year. Then we have the gross domestic product growth rate, meaning when we compare our GDP of last year and the GDP of this year. With this, we will be able to understand the percentage of the progress we are making, which in Nigeria is approximately 3%, is our growth rate of our GDP. Number three, we have our gross national income. Number four, we have our unemployment rate. Number five, our inflation rate. Number six, our interest rate. Number seven, our poverty. Number eight, our productivity. Number nine, our PPP. And number 10, our skills development. These are the indicators that will always guide us whether our economy is positive or negative. When it comes to our GDP, definitely Nigeria was the leading country 3 years ago. Today, we are in between third or fourth. South Africa and Egypt overtook us. Our growth rate is around 3%. And the actual target is supposed to be around a minimum of 70%. When it comes to our GDP per head, which to me is even more important than the collective GDP. GDP per head is the average where you have the total number of your GDP divided by the total number of your population, so that we will know averagely what each and every citizen is spending or is contributing within our economy. Take, for example, the GDP per head, per capita of Luxembourg in Europe, as we are speaking today, is 142,000 USD. Meaning, averagely, each citizen is involved in producing or consuming 142,000 USD annually. So if you compute this amount, you will discover that it's over 230 million naira. But our GDP per head in Africa collectively is around 3,000 USD. In Nigeria, it's 2,900 USD. And even the best in Africa is countries like Seychelles, which is 21,000 USD, followed by Mauritius, which is 12,000, then followed by Gabon, 9,000 USD, followed by Equatorial Guinea, 8,000, then followed by Botswana, which is 6,000, then followed by Libya, also 6,000, then followed by South Africa, 6,000, for example. So countries in Europe and sometimes Asia, like for example Singapore, is 127,000 USD. 127, but the best in Africa is 21,000 USD. If you maybe countries also like Ireland, you will discover is around 115,000 USD. Qatar is around 114,000 USD. But in Africa, the best is 21,000 USD. And this is a country with a population of less than 1 million people. So this is to show to us that when it comes to our economic growth in Africa, even though we have spent 2/3 of our time for the implementation of the Sustainable Development Goal, but when it comes to our result, nothing is encouraging. And all the goals are still very relevant, and we are in dire need of them in Africa. When it comes to economic frontiers, that is the untapped lot opportunities. There are many of them. We have so many opportunities in Africa that we have not been utilizing. And this is indeed highly worrisome. We have so many opportunities that are untapped with regards to our natural resources, with regards to our population, with regards to our productivity, with regards to our industries, with regards to our academic institutions, and even government offices. There are many opportunities that we fail to leverage on and make sure that we make progress significantly. In addition, permit me to speak superficially on the opportunities, then challenges, and finally the emerging solutions. And I will make an attempt to reconcile the economic frontiers with the emerging solutions in order to save time. When it comes to opportunities, there are many opportunities that we can benefit from SDGs. I will make an attempt to mention maybe 5 of them. Number 1 is job creation. In Africa as a continent, we are struggling to address the challenge of unemployment on one hand and unemployability on the other. Because our challenge in Africa, and the same in Nigeria, as I always argue, is not just the problem of unemployment, but we still have the problem of unemployability, which is indeed very worrisome. A situation where a graduate comes to you with his certificate, but when you give him the opportunity to work, you will find him wanting. He doesn't have the skills to do the work. Some, when you employ them as engineers or computer scientists or cyber experts, you need to train them. Not only basic guidance, you need to train them. Because of what? Because we prioritize theory in our classes and schools rather than hands-on training. And there is a justification for that. Why? We cherish your class of degree. You want to apply for NNPC, I think their staff is here. It is published, you must have a second class upper. CBN, you must have a second class upper degree. But still in the Constitution of Nigeria, with a secondary certificate of NECO, you can become a president. Minimum requirement of becoming a president is secondary certificate. Vice president is secondary certificate. President of the Senate, secondary certificate. Speaker, secondary certificate. To become a minister is secondary certificate. But for you to be employed by CBN or NNPC, you must have a degree. Not all degrees, there are some restrictions. Either first class or second class offer, and you must be less than 30 years old again. So because of this, the mindset of our students usually is not about what is being taught in the class, it's how to get at least 2-1. If you come to your class and say, there are 2 options. You either stay in the class and attend all our lectures, write your test, homework, and your exam, and I will give you the grade you earn, either A, B, C, D, or E. And if you fail, I can give you your F and go. Or I can give you B, and you don't need to come to the class. No test, no attendance, no homework, no examination. 99% are more comfortable with getting the degree without attending the course. So because of this, our mindset is about our grades, not what we are being taught. Why? Because of the challenges of the labor market. It's all about your course and your class of degree. So the challenge or the challenges of unemployment and unemployability can significantly be addressed through sustainable development goals. According to the United Nations Development on Trade, they argue that there are millions of jobs and opportunities being provided by the Sustainable Development Goals. But an infrastructure, industry, innovation, and skills, there is no innovation. There is no industry. And also, there is no any means to be attained. So there are a substantial number of opportunities. And at the same time, if you look at emerging technologies, in the area of artificial intelligence only, according to the World Economic Forum 2022, artificial intelligence million new jobs by this year 2025. 90 opportunity being provided by the Sustainable Development Goals, because artificial intelligence is part and parcel of innovation. That is the digital innovation. So the challenge of unemployment on one hand and the challenge of can be addressed, can be eliminated or significantly be reduced by at least adopting the Sustainable Development Goals. Number 2, opportunity has to do with investment opportunity. Investment opportunity is key when it comes to the implementation of Sustainable Development Goals. According to the United Nations Development Program and also Oxford Economics, that for the implementation of the 17 SDGs, each and every year, we need an investment of a minimum of 5 to 7 trillion USD. 5 to 7 trillion USD. So this is almost double the GDP of Africa as a continent. And if this amount is to be invested, then definitely you will discover that countries that are struggling when it comes to job opportunities, attracting investment, will be able to achieve this at ease. And one of them is Nigeria. And it is important to realize that when it comes to investment, we need to come up with policies that are flexible so that between our countries in Africa and the investors, we are going to have a win-win situation. And this is indeed very important. When you provide ease of doing business, you will realize that it is easier to attract foreign direct investment into your country. This is what is being found today in United Arab Emirates, in Asia, in Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Because of what? Because of that ease of doing business. In Africa, this is what is being found even in Egypt recently, where UAE signed an agreement to invest a minimum of 40 billion USD into the economy of Egypt. And this amount is almost double our GDP, or rather almost double of our federal budget of 2024. And this is only an investment by one nation. So it is important to attain this. We must work harder when it comes to providing that enabling environment and making investment much, much easier for foreign direct investors, like visa on arrival, process of registering a company to be done within 24 hours, many opportunities like tax holiday, like pioneer status, among others. With this, we will be able to attract more and more. And I want to use the opportunity also to encourage our universities that we all agree that funding education in Nigeria is insufficient. There is no doubt about this. As we try to push government to invest more at state and federal level, between the state higher institutions and the federal higher institutions, we need to think out of the box and see how our institutions can also attract revenue, like renewable energy. There are many opportunities, and this is what is being found in other countries. And this is indeed very important. Number 3 opportunity is innovation and entrepreneurship. Innovation and entrepreneurship are 2 opportunities that are interwoven, provided by the Sustainable Development Goals. This innovation and entrepreneurship are the 2 prerequisites to even building a sustainable and successful digital economy globally. And this innovation and entrepreneurship concept are the 2 ingredients adopted by the Massachusetts Institute of Technology in the US, and that makes the university to be very successful. I was appointed as the champion of MIT, Massachusetts Institute of Technology, in 2019 up to 2021 under a program entitled Regional Entrepreneurship Acceleration Program. The program has been very successful. Under innovation and entrepreneurship, MIT as a university, in 2016 there was a research conducted which has been entitled as the MIT Nation, like the MIT country. If MIT, in 2016, if MIT were to be a country, the collective GDP of their serial entrepreneurs was higher than the GDP of India as a country, with a population of 1.4 billion people as of 2016, 9 years ago. The serial entrepreneurs of MIT, their collective GDP in 2016 was almost 2 trillion USD. by implication is more than 8 times the GDP of Nigeria as a country. And this is only the GDP of their graduates. Because of what? Because of the way and manner they adopt innovation and entrepreneurship. And I'm glad to hear that we have a department of entrepreneurship in this university and under this faculty. This is highly commendable, but let us try to make sure that the entrepreneurship is more about providing skills to the students rather than the theoretical aspect of the entrepreneurship. Because in Nigeria, a PhD graduate of entrepreneurship will only update his CV roaming about seeking for a job. So this is very important, innovation and entrepreneurship. There are many opportunities in innovation, particularly under the fourth industrial revolution, through emerging technologies like artificial intelligence, cybersecurity, blockchain technology, quantum computing, cloud computing, nanotechnology, biotechnology, augmented reality, virtual reality, among others. There are many opportunities. Just an example of how innovation and entrepreneurship are becoming very successful. In 2016, a young Nigerian graduated from our universities here. He couldn't find any job, and he left for the US. After arriving in the US, he partook in critical thinking. He discovered a challenge of lack of a map through navigating their communities. He developed an app named HubSpot. That app was purchased by Apple in the US after he left Nigeria without any job. Apple company purchased that startup from him at the price of 1 billion USD. 1 billion USD. So 1 billion USD, if you convert it to Naira, how much? To Naira, if you take the exchange rate 1,600 Naira, 1 billion USD, it will give you what? 1.6 trillion Naira. And this is a young Nigerian who left this country without any job. Six years ago, a Syrian who was born in Britain by name Mustafa Sulaiman attended a university. He couldn't graduate. He left the university. He started working on artificial intelligence. I'm not telling you or advising you to leave your university. Please proceed with your studies. I'm only giving you the example to know how to navigate through the difficulty and challenges of life. That is only the example. But I'm not discouraging you from obtaining your BSc or BTech or B Engineering or BA or MSc or PhD. Please go ahead and do that. But don't put all your hopes in your certificate. With or without that, make sure that you can leave. After leaving the university without graduating, he developed a startup company. That startup company was purchased at the price of 400 million pounds. And a year later, he was appointed by Microsoft to be the CEO of Microsoft AI globally. As I'm speaking to you, he is the CEO of Microsoft Artificial Intelligence globally. This is to show to us that we can leverage on innovation and entrepreneurship and be successful in life. Are you following? Then number 4, sustainable development goal will improve our education and our health condition. And this is very important. In our education, this is one of them. Some of our commentators and participants join us here virtually. So distance is no more a challenge today that can prevent you from learning. Distance is not a challenge that can completely stop you from skilling or reskilling or upskilling or cross-skilling, as the case may be. Go online and discover many content being provided by Harvard University, MIT, Cambridge, Oxford for free. And through them, you can build your skills. You can improve your education. When it comes to health, and look at AI today in research, the way AI is making research, but unfortunately, is making many academics to become too lazy, particularly students. Because if care is not taken, many students will not even do any research in the future. Because whatever you need, they will just go to AI, download and submit it. This is a very wrong decision. Always partake in critical thinking. You may need to seek the help of AI, but don't rely on that. Make sure that the main research is being conducted by you and you alone. And this is very important. And the same in health. In health, there are opportunities being provided by Sustainable Development Goals under innovation. Only 2 months ago, a surgery was conducted between Asia and Europe. The distance between the doctor and the patient was over 4,000 kilometers. With the support of 5G, artificial intelligence, robotics, virtual reality, machine learning, and others, the surgery was conducted successfully. 2 years ago, a surgery was conducted between China and America. Look at the gap, the distance between the two countries. But it was conducted, why? Because 5G can give you almost real-time communication. A surgery was conducted to address Parkinson. This is to show to us that this is another avenue where we can leverage on in our health system and be successful. In the next few years, you may not wish to travel physically for some medical attentions. A team of joint doctors from England and University of Maiduguri Teaching Hospital can work together on a patient without traveling physically. In the next few years, even for you, you may wish to even travel for holiday virtually. If the economy is biting, you can convince your family that instead of traveling physically, let us use virtual reality. From here in Maiduguri, using 5G and virtual reality, you can take your wife to London, visit some shops for her to see. You move to Dubai, visit some shops in Dubai. You move also to New York. From New York, you took her to Medina to visit the Masjid of the Prophet. You went to Mecca at least to see everything. After that, you can shop online for her and spend a few dollars, and after some days, home delivery. And that is all. It's a virtual holiday.